Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to another live stream here today. So hopefully everybody had a great weekend for Labor Day. Everybody's back and ready to get to trading. So I had a good Labor Day. I ended up going camping up North Michigan, rode some four-wheelers and ATVs around, hit the lake. So it was good. Nice little break. Again, we had Monday off. Time to start trading again for Tuesday. So before we get into it, a couple things that can happen when you come back from a long weekend is because a lot of people get nervous from trading. They haven't been trading, they missed Monday, so they've had this long weekend. So everyone's trying to get back to trading on Tuesday. Some people get a little nervous, some people get a little jumpy because we had that extra day off. It gives people a little bit more time to analyze stocks, get a lot more going. So every once in a while after a long day off, it can be kind of crazy because a lot of times people don't even know what the hell they want to do yet. They haven't settled in for the trading week. Again, they get nervous, they get jumpy, they start trading ways that they would normally not trade, and it can make the market a little funky per se. So for me, again, it is a new month, right? So a new month means set new goals, try and reach those goals. Anything bad you did in the month of August, try and do better on. Anything you did good on, try to consistently stay doing the same thing. Try and rinse out bad habits, bring in some new things, right? So it's a new month, new goal. For me, I absolutely crushed it last month. Now, last month we had a lot of good earnings plays. So for this month, earnings seasons, I believe, is going to start slowing down some of the earnings plays. So when earnings are coming out, right, it's usually easy money. When they're not always coming out, then it starts to get a little harder to make money. So knowing that, I'm going to kind of slow down on the gas pedal here for a little bit, okay? All right, guys, we're going to hop into it. Oh, by the way, this morning, my stock scanners weren't up. My trade idea scanners were not working. So my watch list might be a little off than it normally is because I didn't have the typical list of stocks I could go off of. So I kind of grabbed a few stocks here and there. So we'll cover the ones that are on the list here. But I might end up taking a look at a few different ones here in just a second. So before we get started, I'm actually going to write down a few different tickers here. So give me just a quick second, all right? So we could talk about that one. Give me a second, guys. CONN. Sure, I'll look at that. So I just wrote down a few that I think might be good just by the looks of the scanner. PKX. All right, let's get into it. All right, guys. So, by the way, here is the next screen. So here you guys go. You can write down all of these stocks that are gapping up or gapping down. So we'll take a few minutes here, and you guys can write down, or it's over here. You guys can write down some of these tickers, right? So this is what wasn't working this morning. Earlier this morning, my pre-market scans were not working properly, so I wasn't able to see any of this stuff. So this just came up, just loaded like a couple minutes ago, so I just popped it on. So you guys can take a quick look there. Luke Downs, I don't know WTI well enough to give you an off the top of my head answer on that one. So maybe we'll take a look at WTI here in just a second. All right, let me write it down. All right, so I think that should be suitable enough time for everyone to write some things down. So let's get into it. So now we're going to go to our next screen. All right, so first I guess I'll just talk about big. Let me get some of this other stuff off here. Get off the level 2, get off the news, boom, boom. All right, so we'll look at BIG. So BIG is Big Lots. Big Lots was a stock, and let me put this full screen. All right, so Big Lots was a stock on Friday that had earnings. All right, so BIG had earnings. It went down, it popped up, and now it's kind of hovering in the middle. So the thing is, I'm not super crazy about this, and I grabbed big after we had seen that the scanners weren't working, so I kind of went back to some earnings plays on Fridays to see if I could muster up anything that looked good. And, well, I looked at BIG, and I said to myself that, this gapped down, but it gapped down right into a bunch of support that it clearly could not break, Okay, so I'm actually going to watch BIG potentially long today. All right. I'm not crazy about the long, but I'm going to watch it potentially long considering we moved down. We failed to move lower at pre-market support. We pushed back up, but we failed to pre-market highs. So today we're kind of hovering in the middle. So I think if for whatever reason this opens up and gains a little traction to the upside, we'll actually see a good long play on BIG to the upside. So I'm actually going to be watching BIG here to the upside. Now a good entry for me on BIG would be above probably the aftermarket high. So above this 43.76 area could be a good entry for potential long on that. And then on the flip side, if you're going to play it short, a good entry would probably be below $43. So it has this tight little range that it traded in from Friday. And if it breaks away from either one of these, this channel, I think it could start pushing in that direction pretty well. Okay. Oh, by the way, the ticker symbol in the headline DT is incorrect. I meant to put DLTR for Dollar Tree, but for some reason I wrote DT. So disregard DT. It's actually DLTR. And I'll have to fix that once this video gets done. All right. 1 second. Actually, I got to do something differently here. There we go. All right. So we're going to move from BIG and we're actually going to go to JD. So JD could be an interesting one today. If you're not familiar by now, JD was a stock, or not was, is a stock. And over the weekend, it has received some pretty negative news about the CEO. So the CEO of JD has been caught in a sexual misconduct. Has been caught in some type of sexual misconduct at work, right? Don't know the exact details, but all the headlines are basically saying this dude got arrested because of sexual misconduct within the means of his company, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the CEO of JD got arrested for sexual misconduct. As you can see, the stock is gapping down. Anytime there's a sexual misconduct, some type of sexual harassment, anything that basically has to do with some guy doing something bad when it comes to sex usually doesn't result very good for the company. And vice versa, if a woman did something sexually wrong in her company, same thing would happen. So there's no way, shape, or form is this sexist by any means. I'm just saying, anytime there's type of some sexual thing going down at the office and somebody gets caught for it, it usually doesn't end too well, okay? As you can see, the stock is gapping down. So there's a lot of people that are going to try and short JD today. And I myself have thought about shorting the stock JD today. But something tells me that even with this negative news of sexual misconduct, we're not going to see all that big of a short play, honestly. So part of the reason I believe so is because it has been trending down for so long. So let me take some of these old drawings off. If you look at this move down on JD, it's been going down for the whole year, right? So it's already been beaten down, right? So even this negative news, I don't really think it's going to scare too many people at this point. The stock is already down. If this was up at its highs of 50s and 60s area, yeah, sure, that would be pretty high, and some negative news like this would be the perfect time to short it. But considering it's already really down very far, trying to short it at these lows doesn't really make me think we're going to see a big short play. But I'm still going to watch it, so I think you should too, to keep JD on watch for a short play after sexual misconduct news, okay? And that's the same. See, I'm looking at Tesla 3's comments. If you look at Tesla 3's comment down on the very big deal, he says it will turn out to be no big deal. And that's how I kind of see it, right? I mean, I think it's just a here now, gone by tomorrow type of thing. I don't think too many people are going to pay attention to it very heavily, okay? Next one on, so looking at WIN, you can see that it has gapped down this morning, right? You can see it's gapped down, then it bounced, and now it's kind of rolling over. So it's a good pattern. So ideally, just going to be watching this thing short out of the gates to see if it can at least retest the pre-market low and then maybe even lower. But again, I got to tell you guys, if you look at a 3-year chart, right, this thing's coming down to pretty heavy support. This whole $30 area is a very strong support for JD. So honestly, I think it's getting more towards a good buy than it is a good short at this point. All right. Next one on the list I'll talk about is DLTR. So I'm going to be watching DLTR long bias. So since the earnings on DLTR, you could see it gap down, got crushed, and then it faded out even more. And then on Friday, it just kind of chopped around. Now it's Tuesday, it's kind of trending up. So I think if we start to see DLTR move in the manner to the upside, we're going to see a small yet profitable short squeeze play. All right. So the reason I'm kind of long bias on it is if we look back at the last time we had earnings on DLTR, what happened, right? We gapped down, we kind of trickled a little bit, and then we ended up having a good move, right? So we gapped down, we're starting to base maybe, and then we're going to have a move to the upside. So the long play may not be today on DLTR, but I think we'll see a long play in the coming days, or at least this week on DLTR. So whether it's today or it's tomorrow or it's Friday or Thursday, I'd suggest keeping DLTR on your watch list for a long bias play. After this big gap down concludes itself, we should have a short squeeze followed by a bounce play to the upside until we hit some type of resistance. All right. So definitely keep DLTR on your watch here in the coming days for a long play. All right. All right. So moving on to the next one is Facebook. So I know many might think I'm crazy for this, maybe not, but I would start watching Facebook short. Right? So if we look at Facebook, right, Facebook earnings got crushed. It bounced a little bit, rejects, comes back down, puts in a higher low, tries to bounce again, it fails the higher low. Then we start reversing back to the downside. So now what we're starting to get is what we'd call an ABCD pattern to the downside or a pennant to the downside, which therefore usually means we're going to do something like this, boom, 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 and that way. All right. So no guarantees that happens, but going to be watching Facebook to the downside with the idea that we have bounced once, dead cat bounce. We bounced again for a higher low confirmation, and that's starting to fail. So if we go for one, a dead cat bounce, and then we put in a higher low bounce, the higher low bounce fails. Therefore, we're going to start reversing direction to the downside. We now have an ABCD pattern to the downside, a bearish pennant to the downside. To me, all things are pointing down on Facebook. So I'd suggest that, in my opinion, I believe we should start watching Facebook short. All right. So for me personally, I'm going to start watching Facebook short today in the hopes that it starts to break down the 171 areas, 170s, that leads to a stop loss panic sell, which then will hit us to lows of 167 to retest this big drop from earnings, right? So that is my game plan there with Facebook, to watch Facebook short here, all right, because there is definitely an ABCD pattern occurring or taking place, okay? Exactly, Dexter, right? So Facebook is a tricky one. Yeah, I will agree with Tesla there. Facebook is, yeah, let me put it this way. Every once in a while, you're going to find stocks you like to trade and stocks you don't like to trade. I'm not a huge Facebook guy either, but when things look good, you still got to trade them. But for some people, there are going to be stocks that you just cannot stand trading, right? For me, the stocks that I don't like to trade are AMD. I hate AMD. I'll trade every once in a while, but for the most part, I hate AMD. I hate Facebook. Facebook's one of them. I cannot stand Apple. Apple to me is just the most boring stock ever. I hate Apple. I hate Facebook. I hate AMD. I hate Ford. And those are like the main ones off the top of my head. Ford, Apple, Facebook, and AMD at this point in my life. Cannot stand those tickers. But I still have it on the watch list today, right? So all right, so now that we've kind of covered, so now you got, let me talk about MNKD. I almost forgot. I'm going to talk about this one, and then we'll do a brief run through of a few more stocks, okay? So MNKD is a penny stock that was popping up this morning. I would say watch MNKD long, right? So a lot of times you guys always say you don't trade penny stocks, why don't you trade penny stocks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not that I don't trade penny stocks. I have slowed myself down from trading them, all right? And it's not that I don't like them, right? But in reality, for most people, penny stocks are not your answer. Penny stocks will probably be the death of you because for the most part, anybody trading penny stocks, let me put it this way. When people first start trading, they're going to gravitate towards the low price stocks because that's what they feel that they can only afford, when in reality that's false to a certain extent. So the idea here is when people start first trading, they don't even know how to trade very well, let alone even how to trade at all. So low price stocks bring in a wave of inexperienced traders that when a stock pops up, they take their profit when they really shouldn't be taking profit yet. So it can always cause a bumpy ride, right, on penny stocks sometimes, unless we have a ton of volume. Then secondly, there is not that many good penny stocks to trade all month. There might be a play here and there, but there's not really that many good penny stocks to trade in any given month. Like for me personally, for the month of August, the really only good stock I would consider that's a penny stock would have been Kron, right? Kron was around $5 when it started taking off, so I'd still consider it a penny stock. It's not one anymore, but that is what I would consider a good penny stock to have traded, one that went from $5 to $12. I don't consider a good penny stock one that gaps up $1, pops 30-40 cents, and then crashes, right? So what you're trying to do every month, if you're only trading penny stocks, is you're always trying to catch a 40-cent pop on any random day from any random stock. The likelihood of you catching that quick 40-cent pop every time is not likely, right? But when there's a big runner like Kron, where it goes up $5 a share in a couple days, you can usually find somewhere in that big run to make some money. So when there's a stock like Kron, I'll play it. But when there's not, I don't focus my attention towards it because it's usually going to be a waste of time, where my energy is best spent trading something else, right? So today, I will say I do see a little bit of potential in MNKD. So if we look at the daily chart here on MNKD, all right, so MNKD, you can see popped up to a high of 6 earlier this year, and it's had a few spikes in there in between. Now, if we look at it, MNKD, you can see, is popping up today. Now, I will say this. What's the typical pattern we see on MNKD? I'll show you. The typical pattern is once it spikes, it crashes. Once it spikes, it crashes. Spikes, crash, spike, crash, spike, crashing. So, for you newer traders, if you're going to trade MNKD today, most likely what you're going to be getting yourself into is a stock that's going to quickly come up and then it's going to crash. So what's that tell you? That you should not hold this stock. So don't fall into the mind of I'll hold this and it's going to come back. So if you buy MNKD today and then it drops against you and you start losing, you should cut your losses. Do not hold the bag, because you will turn into one of those people that go, I'm going to hold it, it's going to come back, it's going to come back, it's going to come back, it's going to keep dropping, keep dropping, keep dropping, keep dropping, keep dropping. And then even if it does come back, it probably won't come back to as high as you bought it previously, and you'll still be at a loss. So make sure to cut your losses today. So MNKD is one that I do see potential for a quick early morning spike, and then after that we'll probably stop. Why is that? Well, because for one, the yearly chart. If you look at the yearly chart, MNKD is, if you look at this 180-day chart, it's a nice spike. It's popped up to a high of 170 area. Right now it's currently sitting at 160. If you go to the daily chart, you'll see that MNKD right now has a 200 moving average right at about $2. So if MNKD does pop up, expect MNKD to go up about 30-40 cents and then it come down. It's going to run up to the $2 mark and then probably see heavy resistance and then fall off from there. All right, so MNKD, I believe, is a long up to the $2 mark today. All right. All right, TLRY, true. I mean, there's so much going on today, guys. I cannot possibly cover it all. Let's look at INNT. Yeah, so INNT was a stock on, Friday that ran up from like 5 all the way up here. So, I mean, you could watch this, but, I mean, it does not trade a lot of volume. Okay, it doesn't trade a whole lot of volume. It's pretty sketchy. I would probably stay away from it, honestly. I'd probably stay away from that stock. WTI. All right, so WTI does not have a lot of volume, so chances are I wouldn't trade this. But, regardless. So I would not personally trade WTI. I wouldn't day trade it, shall I say. I'm not someone who would day trade this by any means. So I would, and the question was, do you think WTI could basically, I don't know how high you said it would go, but I'll tell you this, WTI looks pretty bearish right now. I mean, yeah. Because the way I'm seeing it is we had a nice run, right? We popped up, or drop, had a nice run. So now we double topped. Now we're dropping again. It has a short-term intermediate bounce off the 200 moving average. Right now it's testing this previous resistance. It's on the 50 moving average. I would say it's probably getting soon to roll over to the downside once again. I'd say WTI is going to be going down here in a couple days. CON, that's right, an earnings play. All right, so CONN is an earnings play. The stock does not typically see a lot of volume, right? So CONN is a stock that does not typically see a lot of volume, but it is an earnings play. And as with any earnings play, so far it's proving okay. Where it has gapped up, it's starting to roll over, right? So this is what we're kind of looking for, right? If you're looking at the street, it's gapping up, it's starting to roll over. We kind of want to see this kind of just stay right here, and then it has a good chance for long. So all I can say with CONN is this type of stock where it gapped up, it's rolling over. At this point, we're looking for it to kind of roll, catch support on the pre-market level, which is, what is that, like 43.50? Hold on. So yeah, you're kind of looking for a long entry, probably around 43.50s, 43.20s, right? So the idea is that if we see it go like this, right, and then hold support here, you could take a long. Now, I don't know how well it's going to trade because I'm not even familiar with cons, and they don't normally trade a lot of volume. So you're basically banking on the idea that because it's an earnings day, CONN is going to pick up in volume and have a good day. Excuse me. Let's see. Anywho, so anyways, we're going to stop it there. Right, we're going to stop it there. There's a lot we covered. I got to get back to the private group, guys. Get back to there. So once again, for any of you new ladies and gents tuning on, to enter into our private group, always feel free. It's the first link in the description. And then you can also join into our free stock trading chat room, which is like the third or fourth link in the description of the video below. So other than that, I do got to get off, and I will see you guys all tomorrow morning for another pre-market live stream. Do make sure to tune in to the video or our recap video that will be uploaded today on today's trading session to see how I myself and our trading team did. So every day we'll upload a recap video of us trading live, how we did on the day, and then let you guys know how our premium members also did on the day. So we'll see you guys all tomorrow morning. All right, take care.